Hi, good evening to all the viewers and readers of Animation Express. I'm Anil Vanvari, the founder, CEO, and editor-in-chief of the 20-year-old Indian television.com group, of which Animation Express is a part. The group runs successful properties such as India's leading cable, satellite, DTH, OTT, advertising, marketing, and media B2B news and information service, IndianTelevision.com, India's leading TV and OTT fan platform, Telechakka.com, which generates 1 billion views a year from 100 million unique viewers. India's largest FM radio and music B2B and B2C destination, radioandmusic.com, and the world's third largest animation, VFX, comics, and gaming destination, Animation Express. This apart, we produce India's oldest and most popular, the Indian Tele Award, which recognizes performances on and off the screen on television, and they've been televised on channels such as Star, Colors, Zee, Sony for many, many years. We also produce a content hub, which is a gathering of India's content creators on television, film, OTT, audio as well, because voice is becoming important in today's world, thanks to the fact that people are listening to audiobooks and they're also listening to audio blogs. So Content Hub is a gathering of about 1,000 people who are directors, writers, platforms, distributors, cameramen. They all come together to discover how they can create better content for television, film, and OTT. We also run VidNet, which is the largest gathering in India of OTT players, whether it's the platforms, creators, technology, sales, brands who come together to understand the world of OTT. We also produce Brandwood, which is a gathering of brands and agencies which offer solutions to brands around video. Thanks to digital, a lot of video is being created by brands to communicate directly with consumers. So we bring together the ecosystem under Brandwood. The Media and HR Summit, which brings together, as it's pretty explanatory. We also produce the Kids Animation and More Summit, which is a gathering of all the animation studios, the broadcasters, talent around animation, which is voiceovers and the artists, the supervisors, and the entire ecosystem, and the technology players also who provide technology to produce animation under Kids Animation and More. And we produce the Ann Awards, which recognizes the best of animation content. We're proposing to put together the VFX and More Summit, which is called the VAM Summit for VFX professionals, such as the person we're going to be speaking to right now, the professional, and of course, the VAM Awards, which we hope to start. The pandemic has put a paid to those initiatives we were planning, but we hope to do it not in the too distant future. This apart, we do a lot of activities on physical and digital formats, and we're also moving into phygital, like this is a part of the digital side. We handle brand activation for a handful of national brands. I look after, personally, MIPCOM, MIPTV, the world's largest gathering of content creators, distributors, and traders, Asian Television Forum, which happens in Singapore, and Esports Bar, which is around the esports ecosystem. I'm the sales agent for these markets. At MIPCOM, we have numerous animation studios going in there to get service work and also to do co-productions. Similarly, some VFX studios have started going over there. Some companies like Prime Focus get there to get work. Let's get on with a session that we have today. The dreaded pandemic has not stopped the AVGC industry. Professionals, artists have been able to work as they are working with digital assets rather than people. A lot of studios have been working behind the scenes in their homes, and and that's been very good news, whereas live action production has stopped and shoots have stopped, and they're coming back actually now. They stopped for about 2.5 months, but at that time, the AVG's industry was operational. 10 days ago, I spoke to Harry and Ketan from Red Chillies VFX about how their VFX studio has been progressing during the pandemic, lockdown, and opening up thereafter. Today, I'm happy to bring you Naveen Paul, once a creative head VFX at Reliance Media Works, who got together with Prasad Sutar and Ajay Devgan to kickstart NYVFXWAALA, the VFX division of Ajay Devgan Films. And since then, there's been no looking back. NYVFXWAALA has made more than probably 20-25 films under its slate over the past 5 years. Naveen Paul himself has worked on over 200 projects in his 20 odd years of being in the VFX business. So let's get on with Naveen. Welcome, Naveen. Good to see you here. We're a little late, but I know we had a few problems connecting, but good to have you here.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here. Thanks for having me here.
Fantastic. You know, sometime back, I think Siddharth from my team had spoken to you, Iyer. Is it right? Some years ago?
Siddharth Iyer, yeah. Many years ago, yeah.
I know. So it was fun during those days. It's fun now too. But let's get on with the conversation that we're about to have. I love the world of storytelling, and I love the way stories are told through animation and using visual effects as key to the entire story, and that's increasingly being used today. And that's good news for studios such as yours, which is providing VFX services to not only Indian companies but also international producers. So how has the lockdown affected business for you, Naveen?
Lockdown,
And the opening up and the pandemic, everything put together.
yeah, I mean, to summarize, the effects of this pandemic has been throughout all the industries, and this industry is no different. I mean, we got affected. A few projects that were lined up are now postponed, uh, and resulting in a slowdown in terms of work for us also. But then we have been lucky enough to be recently announced a few films which are going to get released on OTT platforms. So again, we are back on track and completely working day in and day out to basically deliver the films on time.
So was anyone affected in your group, in the company? Anyone got impacted by COVID personally?
Uh, not 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 really that I'm aware of, but I've been in touch with almost everybody in my team, and everybody, by God's grace, are here and healthy. They're doing fine. In terms of work, yes, I mean, we discussed a lot of times that okay, this is a kind of a reset that we all are facing, and then this is the time that we all need to be together, be positive about everything going around, and we have been patient enough till now, and we have lots of work to do now.
Yeah, so nobody, no family members of employees, nobody.
No, no,
Okay.
no one that I am aware of.
Okay.
No one.
You're fortunate because I've had people in my company getting COVID, recovering, which is a good thing. Or Krishanu was locked down in his building, and so were other people from the team. They couldn't move out of the building. They were containment zones, and so I've had a colleague who recovered from it, which was very, very heartening from my company. So it's good news that nobody has been impacted. I know one of our colleagues in Animation Express, Mama expired of COVID.
Oh,
So it's coming upon us, and the way the cases are going, it's pretty.
yeah.
At times it can be disheartening, but then we've got to be clear that we've got to get through this. The human spirit is definitely more important and more. It's stronger than any virus. The human spirit.
Yes. But keeping all the precautions in mind, because it's a very dangerously contagious and easily spread kind of a virus that we are coming across. So we should go on with life, but then at the same time we have to, kind of take all the necessary precautions. And at times we tend to forget that okay, that we have touched something which we shouldn't, and then it's kind of a difficult thing to always remember and be careful about it, but then we have to do it.
Yeah. So have you ever gone down without a mask and then remember then and come running up to grab your mask?
No, not with the mask. No, I didn't forget the mask, but many times that I went out to get something, there were times when I got them back to home, and there's this standard procedure of desanitizing them and things like that. So couple of times what I've done is I've desanitized maybe 3 times or 4 times, forgetting that I've already desanitized it.
Okay.
Just to be sure, I kept on desanitizing, and then there was a biscuit packet which eventually got melted, and I realized, okay, I'm doing this for the nth time now. So,
So you're obsessive, are you? Are you OCD?
I mean, yes, I mean, this was in the beginning of the pandemic. Now that we are getting used to the situation, not that being careless, but then you know exactly what to do and when.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, we are forgetting, and I think Indians are forgetting. I went out on the streets and I saw people with their mask on their below their nose. And I said, what the hell are you guys doing? It's supposed to be above your nose, not below your nose. And, Sunil Pal did a lovely video around this, how people are wearing their mask. I saw another good cartoon today, which had a man wearing a mask in his private parts and nothing else. That's not the best way to wear a mask. And that was the comment. So you got to wear it on your face. You got to cover your nose. You got to cover your mouth. You got to cover the entire portion of your face, which allows it possibly to get into your system. So anyway, moving on from that casual and simple chat. So tell me a little bit about, I know that NY stands for Nyasya and Yug in the name NYVFXWAALA.
Yeah.
So how did you and Prasad get together, and then how did the name come about? Was the name already there, or did you all guys help in its selection, or Ajay had decided that's what the name is? Your co-founder, which is Ajay Devgan, if not many people know it, but yeah. So did you all, how did you all do all this?
Me and Prasad, we have been working together, rather, I would say, for the past, I think it's been 14 years now that we know each other. And since the time we met, we have been always working together. He's taking care of his share of projects, and I'm doing my share of projects. And there was a time when we both decided in 2014 that we should probably think about something that can make us entrepreneurs, and at the same time take this industry ahead and work in a way that we see the future the VFX industry would grow by, and we wanted to be part of that growth of the VFX industry that we have been experiencing in India, growing exponentially in past few years, and it's going to grow further up from here. So in 2014, when we decided that we want to do this, then the question came, what should be the name of the studio that we plan to open? So there's a very common term to whichever clients we used to meet and to whichever shoots we used to go. There was a common name with which we were recognized by. People would say, "अरे वो VFX वाले को बुला लो, अरे वो VFX वाला कौन है? अरे वो VFX वालों को पूछ लो कि कितना टाइम लगेगा काम करने." So VFX वाला is a very generic
I understand that, yeah.
word that I would say the film industry recognizes with. I mean, there's no VFX. They don't know the VFX supervisor. They don't know a modeler. They do not know a compositor. They do not know an animator. But they know VFX walas. So being so generic name and very oftenly being called upon, we decided, okay, let's be VFX walas. So that's how me and Prasad basically decided that we should go by with this name VFX Wala. So in 2014, we were with Reliance Media Works. We both were with Reliance Media Works. And then we decided, okay, let's part ways and start something on our own. And there was a trustworthy team that we always had. And they have a substantial part in the growth of NY VFXWAALA. So that was a team that we all moved out from Reliance Media Works when.
And at that time, if I may interrupt, Reliance Media Works was looking at kind of not being in the business, right?
Yeah, I mean that was the time when Reliance Media Works and Prime Focus, there was a kind of merger, and the way we see the things now. So that was the beginning of that merger when Reliance and Prime Focus, they decided they should merge, and Prime Focus would probably take over operations and take it ahead.
Because Anil wanted to get out of the business.
Yeah. So and by that time, me and Prasad, we had already shifted so many companies, and these things were really pinching us for the fact that we put in so much of hard work of all these years, and then the recognition is going for a toss. I mean, Reliance Media Works in one time, me and Prasad, we worked really very hard to get it recognized in the VFX industry that Reliance Media Works can deliver high complex visual effects for feature films. So from there, when this happened, me and Prasad moved out and we started it in a one-bedroom house near Goregaon station. So while working like that, we began working on that. in that one bedroom house, and then one fine day we caught up with Ajay sir. Ajay sir, again, the history goes back uh, since 2004, 2005, that we have been working in almost all of his films that he's been doing, and he knows our technical capabilities and whatever you call them. He just thought we are capable enough of uh, working and delivering good stuff. So Ajay sir proposed us that if you are willing, then let's do this together. So I mean, for me and Prasad, from nowhere, this kind of a thing was a was there were no options as such. I mean, we just jumped onto the opportunity, and Ajay sir himself being a so technical savvy, he's been a director, he's been a producer, and he's also known to introduce VFX in the Bollywood. That people talk about Ajay sir introducing using visual effects for Pyar To Hona Hi Tha, that Remo Fernandez song, wherein it was the first time where the background was in green screen, and there were titles rolling behind with visuals of the films. So he's pretty much known that way in terms of post production and technical aspects. So so there was this thing that it clicked right away, and then we started off. And when it came to the name of the studio, we completely asked Ajay sir, what would you want to name it as? He said he was fine with whatever you name it. Uh, so we came up with VFXWAALA. He laughed for the first time, and then he said, okay, let's go with it. But then he said, let's add NNY, Nisa and Yug. So I mean, there was nothing that we could ask for more. I mean, we are getting somebody like Ajay Devgan, who is willing to support us, who trusts on our capabilities, and also the wavelengths match, and we respect him as a technician, as an actor, as a superstar, and he knows our weaknesses and strengths. So there was no going back. I mean, that's how the association happened.
Okay. And so, but you all began with two computers, and then you all went on to, with him coming in, you all could go out and raise capital and also start setting up the unit, right?
Yeah, we started off with say 10 systems in a one bedroom house, and if I remember, there were two films that we were already working on, which was Bajirao Mastani and Dilwale. Bajirao Mastani is Sanjay Leela Bhansali, Dilwale is Rohit Shetty's film that we were already working on, and we were thinking to expand. And this was the time when Ajay sir dropped in and lent his extended help to us, and that's how it all began.
Great. It's quite a journey. He must be happy, and so are you. And so is Prasad.
Yes.
So what are the major things which you think has, which you can, which would make you happy?
Major things.
You get the national award.
Yeah,
Prize.
I mean, we started in 2015, and we were working for Bajirao Mastani and Dilwale. So those were one of the first projects that we are working on, and Bajirao Mastani went on to win all the awards in VFX category. Dilwale was nominated in few of the award ceremonies. So that was a big beginning for us as a studio, that okay, we were doing something right, and that kept us motivated enough to work hard. In the second year, we again delivered a lot of films. One of them is Shivai, which we won national award for. Apart from all the remaining awards, IFAB, Z Cine, Filmfare. So the list went on. I mean, in the third year again, we went a lot of awards for Jagga Jasoos. We were nominated in almost all categories. So it's kind of a it's been a very challenging, interesting, and a developing story that comes across in these 5 years, and we're still hoping many better things moving ahead.
Yeah, you're from Tamil Nadu or from Kerala?
I'm from Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Acha, Telugu.
Telugu, yeah.
Fantastic. So great. Now, and you'd be an East Indian or a Protestant, if you don't mind my asking.
I'm a Protestant.
Protestant. Fantastic. Mathemite, Jacobite, that doesn't figure in Andhra, right?
No.
Okay. So coming back again to to the work conversation. So pandemic is on, lockdown is on. You all guys are working from home. You worked on Bhuj, the Pride of India, right?
We are still working on Bhuj Pride of India.
Not yet finished. August 15th, you were supposed to come on.
No, not August 15. No, it's going to be around. It's not yet announced, but what's being said is it's going to be an OTT release
Okay.
on Hotstar, and it's expected to be around end of this year or the beginning of next year. So
Oh,
that's
you
when
have
it's
time.
yeah. We have just in fact finished working on a film which is releasing next Friday, which is called Khuda Hafiz. The trailer was out yesterday, starring Vidyut Jamwal. So that's completely been worked from home. Uh, we did about 500 shots. Again, deadlines being very shorter time as usual. We ended up working as we would have worked in a studio, being in a studio.
Excellent. We'll come to that later. So Khudafis is an action film.
Yeah.
Okay. That must have been really, really challenging working long distance. We'll come to the process of, but you also said you were working on Radhe, Ludo, The Big Bull, Mani Ratnam's film, and
Yes.
Indian 2.
Yeah.
Suryavanshi also.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Suryavanshi is what you were giving finishing.
Suryavanshi, yeah, Suryavanshi.
So these are the other projects you're working on, or you finished them. Which of these have you finished? Because Bhushan Kumar announced that he'd finished 90% of the VFX work on Bhuj. Unless you've gone back to the drawing board.
No, not 90%, not 90%. In fact, it's a very VFX extensive film. I mean, there are wars and uh, there are dog fights. I mean, planes moving in the air, and it's a pretty complicated film that way in terms of VFX, because it's also not only shots, but then there are sequences which take the story ahead. So we have to be very careful making them look larger than life, but at the same time balancing and making it look not fake. And in terms of shot designing, I mean, we have so many good examples, worldwide pictures where we have seen lots of fantastic war sequences.
Mhm.
So our challenge is to be at par, to deliver at par to the sequences that we have already seen probably in Hollywood films. So that's the target. So it's a very VFX extensive heavy film, and it's not 90% that's finished of the VFX. It's only 10% that we have just begun working on. So
Oh, okay. So have you seen 1917, the film?
yes, I have.
How did that impressed you? The
Very much, very much, very much.
what did you like about that in terms of VFX? Since you're talking about war films.
Uh, Execution, mostly. I mean,
Any shots?
apart from execution, there's a lot of emotion, in VFX, in terms of shot designing, in terms of camera moves. It's if there are hardly any good dialogues in the film as such. I mean, I don't remember any dialogues, but then I do remember shots.
Yeah.
So there's this one single shot where this guy is running, and there's a lot of things happening in the background, the foreground, all over, and then it adds to that edge of the seat kind of a feel altogether as a package. So that's what we are aiming on Bhuj as well, and I'm sure we'll keep up to that level.
It's an amazing tale. It's about this soldier
Yeah,
who has to go and tell them not to attack because there's danger ahead. And
yeah,
his journey through that, he loses his friend along the way, and that there's a trap being laid for them, and he just manages to make it and save the regiment. So amazing tale. I'm hoping to watch Butch then. If it's anywhere close to that, it'll be worth really a watch. As long as we don't make it too sentimental and emotional like we do with our films.
not really. You'll really enjoy the film, and you'll really like the VFX that we're going to deliver.
Fantastic. So, in terms of talk to us about remote workflows, the workstations you're using, the pipelines. Are you using Team Viewer? You had to set up to grapple with the pandemic-induced lockdown and challenges.
It's been a challenge. There's no doubt about it. It's been a challenge working from home to coordinate with everybody. I mean, there are a lot of good things, but then there were a lot of challenges that we all had to face. I mean, this is a new kind, a new style of working, which we were not prepared to, or we never knew that we would do something like this. So it took quite time for all of us in the team to basically getting used to the situation first. I mean, it took certain amount to first make ourselves realize, okay, guys, we are going to work from home now. So 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 there was a time to basically, there was a transition time to basically sink into the fact that we need to work from home. So that took a little time, and then when we realized, okay, this is the way to go about now. I mean, we have to work from home. So there were few technical challenges that we all zeroed upon, and we came across all those challenges. uh, Coordination has been quite tough. I mean, we have incorporated a lot of production softwares to communicate, and we have a lot of video chats, phone calls. I mean, I what I believe is, if the communication is clear, I think we can probably, we were also thinking probably we should continue the way we are working from home right now. I mean, even after the pandemic.
Okay.
So
I
that's a
can't hear you. I lost you.
yeah. So that's a very good
Hello?
transition from,
I've lost. Okay. Give me a second.
yeah. What I believe is, if the communication is clear, I think we can probably, we were also thinking probably we should continue the.
Hello? Naveen, I lost you for a second.
Oh,
Hello?
am I audible now? Hello.
Yeah. I lost you the last two sentences or three sentences.
No, I was saying from where we began in the beginning of the pandemic, thinking, would we be able to do this? I mean, would we be able to work from home?
Hmm.
Would we be actually be able to work from home? So from there till today, the thought process that has grown all amongst us is, should we continue working from home only after the pandemic also? Because we troubleshooted our pipeline in terms of communication, exchange of files, everything. Because working from home saves a lot of money. I mean, it saves a lot of real estate sky hiking prices in Bombay. So working from home is not a bad idea at all.
Okay. So what have you decided?
No, we haven't decided that we would work from home. But then this is an option that we should. I mean, we as a studio would like to explore more, uh, uh, and probably look for this option in terms of future expansion.
Okay. In future expansion, are you looking at expanding?
Yes. I mean, I don't know if you're aware, we have opened a branch in Hyderabad.
I'm aware of.
Yeah, so that was a big step for us to decide whether to open in Hyderabad, whether to open in Chennai. So there are reasons why we opened in Hyderabad, and from there on, uh, to the for the projects that we have been working on, there are other projects which we aim to do from the West, from the Hollywood. If that works out, then probably yes, we would look for expansion. And not only Hollywood. I mean, in India also, the content makers are kind of, their perception of content is changing. Uh, because the kind of digital platforms that we have in today's time, where you have a visual reference, where the level is already set, and every content maker wants to take his content to a notch higher. So the only way that I see this could be done is, VFX could be a big tool for to explore how big content we can create.
Okay. So, if you could go more into detail about the remote workflows, how did you all pull it off? Get the workstations in homes, and how did you all, video calls are on, but what is the intricate software and technology are they using to get that? Because there are questions coming on our Facebook page asking us to get more details.
See, workstations, we made sure that every artist working for us had a workstation. I mean, we sent them the workstations from our office. Their own workstations were shifted from office to their homes. one-on-one.
When did you all do this? When? After the lockdown or before?
This was during the lockdown, as in when things were getting little relaxed. We found chances. We took permissions from police. There was a pass that the police was giving. We took legal permissions, and then in a day we shifted like 60, 70 systems. We took 2 days to basically transport all the workstations from home. So that's one part. Second part is now workstations have been sent. Now, how do we keep a track of who is working what and how many shots needs to be done and when by when? How is the efficiency levels? How do we monitor all these things? Was something that we had to break our heads to figure this out. But then we started using shotgun, which is again a great production tool to help everybody know on the status of the project. So yeah, I mean workstations, good internet, our FTP server, uh, and communication over phone calls and video calls made it little easier for us.
Yeah, so there's Anish Shirish Godbole who's asking this question. Uh, do you have any issues in terms of quality we face in work from home?
Quality, I would not say we have not faced it yet, but then what is the definition? I define quality as what we see it on the screen. I mean the quality of visuals that's been created. So it's the same artist that they're working from home. It's just that they're working from home, but they're the same artists, same software, same workstations, and it's machine is. I would rather say machine is just a tool, and the skill lies within the artist. So it's the same artist, and we are not facing any quality issues as such.
Yeah, and then Soumya Sen is asking, this is on our Animation Express page, is the future of VFX industry led to work from home?
Uh, I would not categorize as only VFX industry aims to work from home or thinking of working from home. It's all across. I mean, this pandemic has given everybody a chance to think on this, whether we can work from home. If yes, then what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. But then I don't think for me completely working from home might not work. I mean, working from always can be a part of the working style, but then we cannot. I don't think we should depend completely on work from home, especially for VFX, because it needs a lot of team interaction and communication, briefing, corrections. So probably being physically there together. I mean, a core team can be there together, and everybody else can work from home. Probably, if that option needs to be worked out, that this is how it should be worked out.
Okay, one more again. They want to know a little more in detail, a little more. Let me just read the question. There are people who are appreciating the fact that you've got the award. There's Parthos who was saying, I appreciate your hard work for Tanaji. It deserves an award. Nice work, sir. Then let me just open the other comments one sec. So this gentleman wants to know a little bit more about work from home. How are the supervisors working with them? How are, how does it, do you work on specific shots, specific scenes, sequences? How does it work, and how do they all pitch in together?
Okay, so this is basically the process that I'll have to explain. I mean, in terms of process, it's no different than what we usually do if we're working from a studio. And the process remains that having a clear brief on the sequence. I mean, how clear is the brief and what kind of references are we referring to, and what is the benchmark that we plan to set for that particular sequence. These should be the preliminary steps that needs to be talked about even before executing the sequence. So once we decide on these facts, then after that probably we come down to resource distribution, which is again in VFX. As you know, we have many departments. working on individual tasks, and every task is special by itself. So there has to be a lot of coordination between team leads, I would say, or the department heads, who basically lead the entire departments. Like in any studio, I mean, if there is a rotoscopy team, we have a roto lead who basically roto lead and a production along with the roto lead who manages and maintains deadlines and deliveries and data transfers and things like that. So similarly, all the departments that we have in VFX, like the CG department has a CG supervisor, again a CG supervisor. Under him will have a modeling lead, a texture lead, a lighting lead. So to simplify, we divide them into small parts led by a group leader. So when these group leaders come together and talk to each other, uh, aiming for a common target, which is the client's brief or the creative directors or the creative heads brief on the sequence. So that's how we work, at least. I mean, I'm sure all other studios also does that. I mean, it's coordination. It's having a clear cut brief in head, no confusion, no. I would say no rework. I mean, doesn't make sense to do one thing 10 times. Rather have a clear brief and do it once and deliver. So that's how we kind of maintain.
Yeah. So this Tanaji thing, which you deserve an award, Parthos is saying, which is great stuff. I mean, maybe this year, if we have them coming up, maybe you'll walk away with the awards. So, so you shot it against Chroma, right? And
Yeah.
but is that the way forward for the industry, where we, especially considering that the coronavirus is going to be there for a while, that you shoot in an enclosed space? Like when I speak to Siddharth Tiwari and Rahul Tiwari, they're doing the Krishna series, and they did Porous with a lot of VFX. So you shoot against a green screen in a controlled environment with less artists, etc., and then you use VFX to multiply it. So is that the way forward, for you think, which is a good way to go forward?
See, I would not say that this pandemic is leading to things wherein everybody will shoot against a green screen or a blue screen. I mean, that's I would say that for me that's the second part. But the first part is VFX is essentially, people should look at using VFX to increase the production values on the screen. You know, to basically design a sequence which will enhance the visuals, which will value add to a story, which will value add to a production, which will add to the project on overall basis. If the question I have to answer, whether this pandemic will make a lot of filmmakers to shoot against blue screen, green screen, I would say that's more of a convenience, and that's not something to do with creativity. I mean, they are two different things altogether.
I get it. Yeah.
Uh,
Do you think it's a good option, considering that, let's say some of the films could shoot now in controlled environments, and you could then step into the picture, a post house
why
like.
not? I mean, we have already done this in the past. Tanaji being the latest one, it's completely been shot on a blue screen or green screen. I mean,
And
uh,
how many people were there on sets? I hope there weren't too many, not 200.
on
Not.
the sets, I mean, about maybe 150, 200 at that point of time, because they were sets that were being built parallelly. So we need manpower to build sets simultaneously. So we finished one set and then moved on to the second set. But in the film, when you see, it's the same set. We are
Sure.
stitching two sets together in VFX. So a lot of things were going on parallelly, and uh, many people. I mean, 150, 200 is the number that I think should be there at shoot.
But can a filmmaker look forward to a scenario where he works with less people? Maybe the setup is done, the next scene comes, you sanitize, do the next scene. We don't know how long this is going to continue, the entire pandemic, because the virus is not showing any signs of slowing down. And locations, secondary infections are popping up: Australia, Korea. Japan, and when New York was an epicenter today, the West Coast is becoming an epicenter in America. And Florida came up, different states. Now Bombay is slowing down, but other pockets are popping up. Maybe Bombay will pop up again as an center.
Yes, I mean, I don't see things getting back to normal, say by mid of next year is what I think. I mean, I may be wrong, but this is what I think. But then at the same time, life has to move on, and as you said, a lot of filmmakers and a lot of content creators are considering to shoot everything against a controlled environment with a minimum set of crew against a blue screen and a green screen. So that's anyways already happening. I mean, and till the time till the time things get back to normal, I think this is going to happen. I mean, this is evident. I mean, no one can stop this from not happening. So things are being already planned. I mean, there are shooting schedules that's being planned from August. Few films are being planned from September, October, November, and the list goes on. I mean, uh, uh, having said this, if somebody has to shoot anything right now during this pandemic, then as you said, the only way is to shoot in a controlled and convenient environment wherein VFX can play a great tool to make that happen.
Great. And that means good revenue. I mean, VFX industry might finally get a boost that it needs. It's been growing, but it's been growing at a steady clip. Maybe it might grow faster this year, hopefully. And, studios such as yours will benefit from that. And also Shahrukh Studio, Red Chilies, and Harry and Ketan Studio, and many other studios which have come up. So it'll be great if your guys benefit. Now, coming down, to technology. So, what are the new technologies you're seeing which has impressed you on the horizon? Maybe some are under development, some are being released this year, some could come out a year down the line. Which technology do you think is going to be crucial to this sector?
Uh, it's going to be motion control, motion capture techniques, motion control techniques, uh, multi-layer techniques. Probably see the best technology. There's no best technology as such that I can define at the moment. But then for me, uh, in this world of VFX, the most challenging part is to think about how to execute something wherein it can set up a benchmark
Mm-hmm.
for Indian industry or for that matter globally. Uh, Technology is always growing. Technology is changing day by day. But then it's the content creators who needs to think what is being written as a script and knowing what VFX can do to their script and to what level. So I think technology is second to what is being written as a content.
Oh, I get that. I get that. But you might still have, you travel to different VFX trade shows, or you don't? Or you're so busy doing,
Not many. To be really frank, not many.
okay. So how do you future plan for yourself?
Future for plan for myself. I
For
mean,
the studio, that's what I'm saying. That's what I meant.
yeah.
Sorry.
So uh, taking care of ourselves by wearing masks and taking
No,
all
no,
the
no. I'm talking about that. That is right now. But I'm saying going forward in terms of what the new technologies are going to be. How can you optimize everything that you're doing? How can you? Let's consider the pandemic is there, but we need to start getting more efficiency into the system. So how do you keep yourself updated?
see technologically there's no such thing that we have thought of in terms of keeping ourselves updated. But then yes, we have whatever technically whatever developments that's been happening, we have been uh, aware of it, and we have been using those techniques in day-to-day shots that we are working on. So there's no specific technology that we intend to look at the moment.
So coming back, there are questions coming in here from Subodh Fadnis, how do you render the very big file film sequences? Do you use raw file or use a different format?
See, rendering happens. Uh, I mean, it's rendering is part of all the departments. Like uh, the final rendering that we do has to be a raw, because that's something that will go as a final product. But then before that, like a CGI department renders out a file which is textured and lit properly, and then that render goes to the compositor. Compositor takes that, composites with the live action footage, then he renders that out. So all these final renders that we do have to be in a raw format in the highest possible resolution.
So how do you do if with remote? You have to, somebody's, Athang Tavale is saying work on VPM is quite difficult cause many companies not providing internet expenses. Then, you need bandwidth. You need really broadband.
Yes, we do. We need broadband. Yeah.
Yeah, and massive data transfer capability. So these are questions which are coming on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, these are something which just say comes without saying. I mean, we the high bandwidth of internet, the remote working that we normally use for, we use remote machines, remote render farms from people are using from their homes. They're using our render farms at the studio using remote system. So uh, so anything that requires to be dealt with such heavy files, like the internet bandwidth to start with. Apart from that, everything else, the machine configuration, the time that you put in, again, all uh, efficiency versus situation kind of a thing that we have.
and how much of productivity losses are you facing?
I would say we are not as efficient as we would have been in a studio otherwise. I would say we are performing to say 75% of what we could otherwise do in a studio.
Mhm.
75 to the best of the side. I mean, averaging about anywhere between 60 to 75% of what we could have done in a studio.
So is that increasing costs for you or no? Because if you're having the same employees at the same salaries, your costs go up if it's taking longer.
Yes, it is increasing our cost. Yeah.
Okay. So now there's Mohsin from VFX. Good evening, sir. What will be a requirement if freshers want to join as a compositor in your studio?
Compositor as a fresher. I mean, I would suggest there's, see, everything has a light ladder to climb up in life, so we need to first start with the basics of learning VFX. If you want to be a compositor, then probably the roadmap that I think I should suggest you is you start off as a as a rotoscopy artist, and then in live action feature films, if you opt to do some live action VFX, then the path would be to do rotoscopy for few months and then do cleanups for few months. That's the preparation, the wire removals and things like that. Then you jump on to be a junior compositor, and then you become a compositor. So it's a roadmap of, say, you should give yourself a time of 2 years at least to probably reach to being a good compositor, 2.5 years.
Okay. Now Anish is asking another question. How are you working on security of data?
That's a very good question. Security of data has always been a very sensitive issue for any studio. And what we do is we have centralized servers that are only password protected, and the machines are there are we have categorized data which could be shared and which cannot be shared. So the data which cannot be shared have to be accessed from our servers using a password and the username and everything, wherein we log in and note down the details of the user, and we keep a tab on and making sure that things won't be leaked out and it's safe. So there are quite proprietary methods that we have been uh, doing to make our data secure.
Okay. Then we are hearing of things like lidar scanning. You've invested in lidar scanning,
Yes, we have.
actual production, photogrammetry, 3D rigs, and also game tech engines like Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
So, is that interesting to you? I mean, apart from lidar scanning, which you're doing.
Yeah, it does. I mean, uh, it's we got into lidar scanning because that was needed to be implemented as a VFX studio because there was a lot of demand coming in for that kind of stuff. So, so these areas are something that you need to choose whether you want to be in or be out of that. So definitely yes. Moving forward, we would want to explore these options and get into that also.
Okay. So, anything new will be after the pandemic, or will you do it in between?
No, it's. I mean, the thought process is already there, but the execution has to be after the pandemic because uh, we really don't know how long we are going to do this. But then again, this is giving us a lot of time to correct our mistakes in terms of everything, in terms of pipeline, in terms of communication, in terms of execution. So it's giving ample time for everybody in the team to think of better plans, better plans to be more efficient, and from there on, when the pandemic ends, probably we'll then execute them.
Okay. So, anything that you've taken the steps to getting for yourself before the pandemic? Any of these? You had lidar scanning, of course. Where have you used it? Which of the projects?
Oh, we have used in almost all the projects that we have worked on. I mean, even the smallest of the smallest project, we have used lidar scanning. Tanaji was extensively used for that film, and then almost every film that we have done has lidar scanning. And the films that we are working right now, Guj, we have done extensive lidar scanning for Guj as well. I mean, so lidar is part of VFX now. I mean, there's no other option, that better option that will look other than the lidar scanning.
What about Unreal Engine? Are you looking that as a core for
Yes,
your?
I mean, we have experimented that on that as well. I mean, and we look at that as a very efficient option to probably use them in production moving forward.
Okay. So, how much of Suryavanshi is finished? Have you finished it, or is there still some time left?
Yeah, we have finished Suryavanshi. We have finished it.
Anything specific, remarkable about it? No, don't give me any spoilers, but in terms of work.
No, I mean, yeah, in terms of VFX, it's quite heavy VFX film that way. I mean, a few of the locations that's been created digitally that you would not even realize when you see the film. You'll only know it when we release the film and when we release the making of the VFX making of the film. But it's been a tremendously heavy VFX film, wherein being an action film, apart from action, there are locations that's been created, and the locations, because the film is in today's time, the locations that's been created has to be realistic. I mean, because all these locations are something that you see in day-to-day life in Bombay or in Delhi or anywhere in India. So in this again, as I said, LIDA played a major role in terms of scanning locations and incorporating them into the shots.
Okay. So now Hyderabad, you said you have a remote working from there. Your rents and everything, that's rented or that's acquired? I mean, so Hyderabad,
No,
is it
that's rented.
working
Yeah,
well?
that's rented. Yeah,
Yeah. So the challenge is people are not able to go to the office. So they're working from home even there. How's that working out?
they are working from home at the moment. Everybody is working from home because we do not intend to. I mean, government has given some relaxations, as in certain percentage of staff can come and work at office, but then we choose not to call anybody to office. at this time in the interest of their health and their safety. So we have arranged a similar, not similar, I mean exactly replicated the same style of working that we do in Bombay. The same has been done in Hyderabad as well.
So how's it? I mean, in the sense, Hyderabad's working on certain projects, or again, it's we're divided.
It's divided. I mean, the division is based on the kind of skill set that we have in Hyderabad and the kind of skill set that we have in Bombay. So on the basis of skill set of the team, we decide which certain shots or which certain sequences needs to be done in Hyderabad, which certain sequences needs to be done in Bombay. Again, talking about Hyderabad, we opened that studio on the 9th of March, and then 15th or 16th of March there was lockdown, so we actually couldn't start anything physically in Hyderabad office. We have a very limited team at the moment working from Hyderabad, and we intend to expand in next month or so, exponentially there because of the projects that we have.
Okay, and that will serve more of the Telugu film industry, or is it going to serve your going forward? Is it because or the Tamil side, or is it going to be even for your Hindi work that you're getting a lot here?
Yeah, I mean, it's not specific thing that's been decided whether we should do only Tamil films or Telugu films. It's as a studio, it's in terms of work that will be divided based on the kind of projects from all the languages that we are doing films on.
No, because you worked on Bahubali through Arca, but
Yeah.
it'd be like full-fledged projects rather than small piecemeal of the project.
Yes, we have worked on a lot of full-fledged South Indian films, and we have many big South Indian films lined up moving ahead. We have Mani Sir's film, we have Shankar Sir's film, we have Atli's next. So I mean, it feels good to say that we are kind of we have the cream of the directors from the South working with us.
And is the business getting competitive in terms of now? See, there's going to be work coming up. Will there be undercutting like it used to be there earlier, and will there be poaching like used to happen earlier, or is that reduced?
I mean, these things will never fade away. I mean, these things will always be there. It's just that uh, it's the kind of content that the VFX studios are being able to create will fetch money. I mean, to say we are kind of, in comparison, we are kind of little expensive than the other studios. I mean, you'll get a lot of cheaper options, but then we still have the cream of the directors who realize that we can deliver what they want and on time. So poaching and all these things will always be part of even in all industries. I mean, it's we cannot ignore that fact.
So you have a roster of CVs with you all the time. So that if poaching happens, you can poach back.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, there's nothing, no one has control on that.
Yeah, I'll just get back to Facebook to see if they have any other questions. Give me a second. I have questions too. So there's an asking. There's Mohsin again asking. LiDAR is helpful for match move artists, right? For putting CG models into live footages.
It's
That's
not. I mean, yes, it is. It is kind of taken care by the match move department, but then it's the primary use of LiDAR is to help the sequence to make it look as photorealistic as possible. I believe we all know what LiDAR can do in terms of location scanning. So having all that data in a computer is I mean is something that 10 years ago we could not have thought about having such technology, which is of a great use. I mean, it's incredible software and hardware that enables us to show you photorealistic locations without even going to that location, and we shoot against blue or green screens. So yes, it comes under. I mean, a good match move artist can easily operate and understand LiDAR files.
Now, Subodh's asking another question. How do you operate high-end workstations from work from home? I think they want to know how to do it so that, you know, they want to learn the best practices from you.
See, it's the workstation has to be of a higher configuration. That doesn't change the story anywhere. The
Hmm.
workstation has to be a high-end a machine uh, with a hardware that supports your softwares that you'll be using on the system. That's one thing. And if you're working for a studio, then probably that studio needs to uh, uh, make uh, a pipeline that enables you to not waste much of time in data transferring and rendering. I mean, uh, there is no hard and fast rule or a point that I should make that okay, this is how you should do. I mean, it's a process. I mean, it's if I have to tell you in one word, have a very high end good workstation at your place. So that's the beginning of it.
Great. So Anish is suggesting that, I presume you're suggesting that we should have a gathering for everybody from the industry around India under one roof. That is not going to happen very soon, Anish. I'd like to happen, but we can do something virtual if industry is open. We'll do the VAM summit virtually. If the major leaders in the ecosystem are ready for it, where we can discuss the challenges, the issues, and how we can grow this sector to the scale it should be. I mean, why should just, and I mean no offense to Biren, why should Technicolor get all the big global contracts? Any comments on this?
Sorry, I just heard Technicolor getting good contracts. Can you repeat
Global
that, please?
contracts. Why should Technicolor get all the good global contracts? Why don't your guys, the same artist, you could hire and get the contracts?
Um, Technicolor, to begin with, the parent company is not in India. I mean, Technicolor in India is a, a child of a parent company which is in the US and the UK and all over the world. I mean, so the projects that are being done in Technicolor India are the projects that's being shared by the parent companies outside India. So we cannot change that thing that's happening there. But then probably to answer that question, we are targeting to get a few projects directly from the Hollywood, and I'll be the first one and very happy to share with you all when that actually gets executed. And we were very close to that process actually before the lockdown, and this lockdown has taken things aback, and things are paused now at the moment.
I understand. So how much is Ajay involved in the company now? If you don't mind answering that.
Completely involved. Completely involved. I mean, he. See, he's a very technical uh, director, actor. I would say he knows how VFX can probably uh, uh, take the content to what level the content could be if you use the VFX in the right way. I mean, if you see Tanaji, it's something. I mean, he's also the producer on the film and the actor on the film. And for somebody to believe on the technology uh, that uh, that that the VFX would probably help his visuals grow larger than life to a level where no one can imagine. Having that trust will come only with the knowledge that he has. I mean, he exactly and precisely knows how to use VFX and where to use VFX. And obviously, me and Prasad, we were always part of his uh, 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 plans in terms of execution of films. Even a few of the films that will be shot in say in coming few months, all are VFX heavy films. That's only because he exactly knows do's and don'ts and hows and limits, and he knows A to Z of VFX. So knowing that gives us a very good uh, understanding on we all work day and night. There are long, very short deadlines, and then certain things are underbid, certain things are overbid. So in terms of costing, in terms of execution, in terms of time involved, in terms of hard work of every artist that's been put on each shot. I mean, while shooting, if there's a shot and sometimes the DOP says, "अरे वो VFX में clean कर लेंगे." So just imagine a superstar like Ajay sir shouting from this side कि तुझे पता है क्या वो दिन रात बैठ के करता है, तेरे को 2 मिनट में तू उठा के बाजू में रख सकता है, तेरे को क्यों VFX में करना है? So that's the understanding that he has for VFX, uh, in terms of the effort,
That an artist has to put in, yeah. So
yeah.
does he also get into BD for y'all, or y'all do the BD yourself?
No, he does get into it, but we usually update him on things happening around, and uh, uh, there are times when we directly tell him, we uh, give him the updates and the hows and what's. If we get stuck somewhere, if we need any advice on how to move ahead in few things, then we definitely uh, get in touch with him and take his advice and guidance on that.
Okay, where do you see yourself, let's say, 5 years from now? Pandemic is gone. I know we'll learn to live with it. We'll learn to work with it. We'll have work from home. We'll have all that. Maybe each of us will get infected going forward in the next 3 months, and we'll recover. Some will not. So, where do you see yourself, NYFXWAALA, with you and Prasad, 5 years from now? What do you see the studio doing? How big do you see? Do you see offices in LA? Do you see offices in Southeast Asia? Do you see offices in? I mean, how do you see yourself? What do you visualize your company becoming?
I mean, what we always did was do the job right. What we are doing at present. I mean, just deliver, give your best. What you're doing right today. And if I have to answer this, then probably I'll start answering going 5 years ago. I mean, in 2015, nobody was aware of VFXWAALA. Nobody was aware of NY VFXWAALA. I mean, from there till today, if I have to say that we have been receiving all the awards and recognition, and there have been people saying that uh, VFXWAALA is the best studio in India. All the cream directors down south and north, they love to work with us. Now all these things happened because of few reasons. I mean, those reasons are, we didn't wish that we will win a national award a day one day, or we never thought that we want to work with that director, this director. That was never the aim. The aim was to be honest in what we are doing at the moment, uh, give 200% on that, deliver, and things will follow. So from the growth that we had from 1 BHK to a 30,000 square feet in Bombay today, and 8,000 square feet office in Hyderabad today. So I just hope and wish and will that the the ratio that we have grown in past 5 years, we maintain that momentum moving ahead also.
So how many seats currently? You have what, 300, 400?
In Bombay, we have we have DI also. So adding to that, we have about 315 Bombay, and it's a 200 seater in Hyderabad, uh, wherein we have not full-fledgedly started any kind of recruitment there, but then we have very minimum number of artists working now.
I understand. The DI part, how is that one doing apart,
DI
is
part
that,
is doing great.
yeah.
I mean, we have the latest film that we graded was Tanaji. Uh, the DI and the VFX was done there. Before that, we have delivered all extensive heavy VFX film. I don't know if you have heard about this film called Total Dhamal. That's again a
Yeah.
film which has been shot completely with a blue screen and a green screen. The DI that we did for. We did DI for a lot of Malayalam films, a lot of Tamil films. Uh, we are doing DI for Bhuj and the Big Bull that's going to come on OTT.
Yeah.
So it's doing pretty good, and we intend to expand, uh, uh, having few more additional DI suites going ahead. uh, because we have been getting a lot of inquiries from the OTT platform for the web series and things like that.
Great. So now that again, Mohsin is asking another question. If you had data corruption because of remote working, how do you manage?
Data corruption. I mean, normally the data get corrupted. What we have faced is either when we render or when the files are transferred. So these were the two cases that we have come across where data got corrupted. But the source file that we have, I mean the principal shoot plates that we have on our servers, we always have backups for them. Things that get rendered from our side, and if they get corrupted, we always have an option to re-render them and get them. Yes, of course, it's a time that again matters. So there's this additional time that we need to re-render and copy back.
Great. It's been fascinating chatting with you, Naveen. You're a very interesting person and very, very committed professional. And we hope you and companies like Red Chilies, Prime Focus can take India forward further still. So Prime Focus is making a mark globally through Double Negative and all those other studios it has acquired. I hope you as a studio, along with the guidance of Ajay, can take this further. Of course, Shahrukh's been pretty disappointed with the reaction towards Zero, which had great work in it. What did you think of Zero?
Zero, brilliant VFX. I mean, I loved the VFX. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. I mean, it's a brilliantly executed, planned, whatever you call. What I see as a final product is brilliant. I mean, I loved it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so they are all so very happy, the audience. Great stuff. Thank you. I think Harry and Ketan will be very happy to hear this. I'm sure you must have told this to them earlier.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time. I had a good time chatting with you. Hoping to catch you. I've never met you before, but I've heard of you so much from my teams. I run the business overall, and editorially, there are specific leaders who are running it. And so thank you for your time. I hope you had a good time. I had a wonderful time chatting with you. And look forward to being in touch with you again. And let's talk about the WAN Summit, if we can do it as a digital property. So that will be
Sure.
great. Thank you.
Sure. I mean, it's been pleasure being here, and thanks for having me here. I've never met you or talked to you, but then it's been very. Uh, I had fun talking to you. It just refreshed my mind. I had a good time. Hope everybody who's listening to this had good time too. Thanks for me to have you.
So the comment is here. There's a comment here, which is just to make you feel better and make me feel better. There are people who are posting on Facebook. Naveen and Anil sir, thank you so much. Very informative. Thank you for addressing our question. Thank you very much. They're very delighted to be a part, to have her be, have it as conversing with each other. Thank you again. Have a good night.
Thank
Be
you, sir.
safe. Have a great weekend and all the best with all your projects. And be in touch with you soon. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.